Instead of our usual in-depth feature, today's episode of Toy Train Tips and Tricks spotlights a collection of quick, easy, and inexpensive projects I have recently done on my railroad and you may find useful for yours. So let's get started. Online message boards have been overflowing lately with questions about keeping Menards and other knuckle couplers from unceremoniously opening on their own. This tip is sort of a 2-for-1, as I have also used it on the couplers of some operating cars because I enjoy tossing mail bags and firing missiles on the fly. Using this tip, I can disable some couplers to give myself a greater margin of error to activate the operation without uncoupling the car. The solution begins with a quick trip to the local Dollar Tree store, where in the health and beauty section, you can find 600 small black rubber bands for $1.25. Simply wrap the rubber band around the coupler shaft, I do it twice, and now there is enough resistance to keep the coupler closed under the load of a train. You can adjust the amount of tension by moving the rubber band closer to or farther from the coupler. You can still operate the coupler when you wish while minimizing or even eliminating unwanted uncouplings. Use what you need and put the extras in an organizer drawer for later use. Now you have enough for a lifetime of happy train operation. Next, many Lionel steam locomotives feature classification light housings, but no lights, which are generally represented by green or red jewels, although white is actually the most common indication on real railroads. Sometimes these parts have fallen off over the years, but most often they were never included in the first place. While you are getting your rubber bands at the Dollar Tree, visit the arts and crafts aisle and find these jewel border stickers. The small jewels are the perfect size for Lionel steamer classification lights. First, use some tweezers to pluck a jewel off the sheet. These are stickers, so they have some adhesive already applied, but just to make sure, I add a drop of super glue onto the housing. Then I carefully place the jewel in the housing, round side up, and again, for $1.25, you have enough jewels for a fleet of Lionel steamers. Still in the arts and crafts aisle, check out the selection of vinyl paper. These paper rolls are intended for use with a Cricut or other cutting type machine, but they can also be used without a machine. I grabbed some white and yellow for $1.25 each to make lines on my roads and parking areas. Each roll measures roughly 12 inches by 48 inches, so they go a long way. To make traffic stripes, I just used a razor cutter to make long, even strips. The next time I do this, I will program the design into our family's Cricut machine to make the job faster and easier. I can even use the Cricut to cut out traffic arrows, railroad crossing markings, and any other type of pavement marking I can imagine. Even on a simple parking lot, I could have entered my dimensions into the Cricut machine and cut out one large vinyl sticker for the entire area at once. Maybe next time. In this application, I first needed to repair a crack in the middle of my parking lot. The seam between two of my layout boards runs right through it, and with the extreme changes in winter temperatures in the basement, there was significant expansion and contraction this year. I patched the crack with some household elastomeric spackle and sanded it smooth after drying. I touched up the paint with some craft acrylic paint. I don't remember where I bought this color, either at a big box store or Hobby Lobby, but in either case it's called Amish Gray. When the paint dried, I marked out my parking area with a pencil and applied my stripes. There are other materials you can use, but again, for $1.25 a roll, this stuff is cheap and easy to work with, and it'll last a long time. Still in the craft aisle at Dollar Tree, pick up a 6-pack of these handy bottles. These are great for mixing paint colors, making small batches of epoxy, and many other uses, and once again, the price of only $1.25 for a 6-pack can't be beat. Going back to my intermodal terminal, I needed some spotlights so my crews could load and unload trailers and containers at night. I like the look and the price of classic Marx spotlight poles. These are not available at Dollar Tree, wouldn't that be nice? But I found these listed in my local online marketplace for $7 each. Wiring these is easy. One screw connection has 2 small fiber insulators, one on the top side under the nut, and one on the bottom side between the base and the screw head. This connects the hot wire, or wires, that pass through the tower to the light bulbs. The other screw connection is the common side of the circuit, which uses the metal parts of the tower itself and lights to ground the circuit. I figured the original bulbs would probably be burned out, and I was planning on replacing them with LEDs anyway. Like most Marx accessories, any E10 screw-base 12-volt bulb or LED will work. White LED bulbs are offered in 2 flavors. Cold white is an intense, bright white, sometimes with a slight hint of blue. Warm white bulbs, or sometimes called cool white, roughly match the color and intensity of original incandescent bulbs. Testing the bulbs side by side, I preferred the look of the warm white bulbs in this application, as the light was more even and it better reproduced the original look. See the video description for the Amazon part number for these LED bulbs. Also, LED bulbs can be focused, as with flashlight bulbs that concentrate the light in a single direction, or unfocused, which is what I'm using for this application. These LEDs cost around $1 each, while original replacement incandescent types can cost 10 times that much today. Wire the towers to a constant voltage AC power source of 10 to 12 volts, and you're ready to go. The diodes will self-rectify for use on AC power. They will actually flash on and off as the AC polarity shifts, but this happens faster than the human eye can detect. You may notice it with some video cameras, depending on the frame rate. If you decide to use DC power instead, you will have to match the polarity of the power source with the LEDs or they will not light, but the light will be constant when the polarity is matched. Now my facility is open 24 hours. Next, my new and improved Lionel to Marx coupler adapter. This piece uses a 3D printer, but I think a similar design could be made from styrene if necessary. No modifications need to be made to the cars. This is completely reversible in only seconds. This will connect any standard Lionel knuckle coupler, not the weird Scout designs, with a Marx tab and slot coupler or a plastic fork coupler with the tab slot. Most, if not all, Marx metal fork couplers lack a slot for tab-type couplers, but the plastic type have this feature. The weakness in my old design was this tab that connected to the Marx coupler. On curves, the twisting force would break this piece off and make it useless. My new design reinforces this piece with steel brad nails. 3 nails go through the holes in the top of the adapter and into the Marx coupler slot. Simply attach the fat side of the adapter onto a Lionel coupler, then line up the nails with the tab on the Marx coupler. Gravity does the rest. When you're finished, simply remove the adapter. And finally, one of my favorite building materials for household projects is PBC pipe. It's like Tinker Toys for adults. I use it to make all kinds of projects for the backyard and for the pool, and I even used it to frame my homemade airbrush booth. And that's where this piece came from. My wife is always complaining about my collection of scrap materials, so rather than losing this piece to the landfill, let's use it for something on the layout. PVC pipe makes a great gondola load, and since it's trash, the price is perfect. The opening between the ends of this MPC-era gondola is 9¼ inches. My PVC pipe is just over 40 inches, so I'm cutting off 4 pieces at 9 inches each. The remaining piece is small enough to fit in my scrap box for later use, probably as a culvert pipe once I start constructing scenery. After cutting, a quick coat of gray paint gives them an industrial look, and once dry, they're ready for the layout. So there you are, 7 fast, cheap, and easy projects for the layout. As always, I hope you've enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it, and if so, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. And don't forget to tell your friends and neighbors. Thanks for all the well wishes this week. As you can hear, my voice is now back to normal, whatever normal is. Let's all stay healthy and keep the trains running, and I'll see you next time on Toy Train Tips and Tricks.